Ulonka tabati yada to ye ko madaifa. Ino to ye ko je love bipa. Oba tala, oba takutakun. Songo eshu, ogun oya osun. Kini sheshe, tan she nile yo. O jelo jara.
Alafia, peace and blessings, peace and blessings. Welcome to another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I am your host, Arisha Bami, and today we're joined by a new guest, man, a new guest in these Ashe streets. I've been hearing about this brother for a minute, and shout out to Baba Zoe for making that connection initially, telling me, that you were someone I needed to connect with and reach out to and get in touch with. And at the time, I remember him describing you and, giving me his background story of you. And it was funny because when we met about 3-4 weeks ago, within the first sentence that you spoke, I'm like, yep, that's him. Yep, he am them. That's him right there. I said, that's exactly what Baba was telling me about. That's him. That's him right there. So with that, man, it's an honor and a pleasure. It really, truly is. It's not too often I meet somebody, and off of the very first time I meet them, they automatically go up into the some of the GOATs, some of the realest that I've ever spoke to, and that you catapulted into that category immediately, man. So that, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the African Spirituality Experience. Baba Wali Shabazz, also known as Brother Professor, who is the president of the National Trust for the Development of African American Men. Baba Shabazz, man, peace and blessings to you. Welcome to the show.
Yes, peace to you, my brother, and to your audience. Ashe.
No, I appreciate it. Let's just get straight to it, man. You've been doing a lot of work on the front lines for a long time. You have a fire within you that, to me, it strikes the presence of a lightning bolt, man. Kind of like Shango. You really do have a fiery presence about you that, I could feel the passion, for the work that you do and for the people that you serve and the people that you love. And literally two encounters with you in person, I left walking away just amazed, at how much wisdom that, you hold. And so much so, you definitely added probably about a good 5 to 6 books to my library, one of which I already got in.
Oh, man. Go ahead, man. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't play, man. I'm a nerd. I love reading, but you definitely added a lot of tools to my library tool belt just from these 2 meetings. So with that, can you kind of share with us, who you are and what drives you to do the work that you do, and then maybe a little bit about the National Trust and what that organization is about?
Okay. Let me begin by saying, now I'm 80 years old. All right. Mm-hmm. And I have not, in the history of our people, seen us in this worst condition since the peculiar institution of chattel slavery. Mm. So I could put my hands on my father. That's the beginning of the 20th century. I knew my grandmother. That's in the 1880s. That means my great-grandmother was a slave here in the wilds of North America under the horrific conditions of chattel slavery. So I'm qualified to say, looking at our people every day and infusing wisdom and knowledge in our young men every day, I have not seen our people in this worst human shape since Emancipation Proclamation.
Mm. Yeah.
So I've been engaged in this work in this town since 1984. So you add that up. And prior to that, I'm a native of Harlem, New York. Was in the Nation of Islam underneath the leadership of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. I've seen Malcolm make speeches on the streets of Harlem. I was trained by the men who welcomed Malcolm and Joseph when they came to New York. They came into the temple in 1946. So I'm qualified. I visited the Pope of Rome under the leadership of Imam W.D. Muhammad, the son of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who was Malcolm's teacher. So I'm not coming from a book. I'm not coming from research. I'm coming from an understanding of what I have been given by those who had their hands on the pulse. So if you got a question, run it.
Yep, I got a lot of them, Bubba. Out the gate, let's talk about how significant the contribution to the African man, woman, and child, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's movement with the Nation of Islam.
It was the plan of the people that brought us here to the wilderness of North America. It was their plan to remove all of the humanity that God had placed in us and make us their servants, their slaves, their chattel forever. Even when we became emancipated, our minds and sensitivity was still connected to the European that established this society, and the intent was to use us forever. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad broke that chain. A strategy was employed where what was given in the Bible, misinterpreted in the Bible, that black is evil and white is pure, the white man is angelic, and the black man is inferior. He reversed that strategy, and for 40 years, psychologically developed a new thinking amongst the African American people and produced alpha males and females that gave courage, direction, and guidance to their own community. And evolved, the purpose of the Nation of Islam was to evolve the members in that community into the religion of Islam. We were not practicing Muslims. It was a social, paramilitary experiment to evolve us into Muslims, following the leadership of Muhammad the Prophet, prayers and peace be upon the Prophet. And many of us who came from West Africa, and myself tracing my ancestry, many of our ancestors were Muslims. We studied the great kings and queens of Africa, and we start naming these brothers. We talk about the Moors and its influence in Europe, and the generation of knowledge that re-energized the European society and brought them back into the study of the sciences. That was done by Muslims coming from what we now know as Morocco. So there is a genetic connection for me and for many of us in our Islamic tradition and its evolution, because God says in the Quran that he is ever evolving his creation. So man is evolving. And we used to hate. I would go to the movies and cheer for Tarzan. In my own native environment, I wanted the man wearing a pamper to beat all the Africans. That's a sick mind.
Yeah.
And, okay, let's you brought it to me. Now let's take it a step further. Mm-hmm. There's no way, dear brothers and sisters, there's no way that you can take the pejorative, the name nigger, and turn it into an endearment. that shows you have no knowledge, one, of the English language, no knowledge, two, of your history, no knowledge, three, of the psychological damage that that word has done to our evolution as a people in this environment. You can't turn shit into sugar.
Yeah.
And if you understand human development, words make people. And the kind of words that a mother will share with her infant, the kind of love that the mother employs in her energy, one, and in the language that she uses in raising her child, is to increase the love and the intellectual development and curiosity in her child. The term nigger destroys that. And this is a brother, you know, I'm with these young brothers every day.
Oh yeah, listen.
All right. And their behavior is generated with the concept that they believe that they are niggas. So we say, in our ignorant cultural understanding, good grades is acting white, grammatical English is you selling out, being a decent human being, you know, you were square. Snitches get stitches, but at the same time, you ain't doing nothing with your own. You don't have a police force in your own community. This crumb nigger robs a hardworking woman of her resources, and she's not supposed to go to the authorities to get some support. Where does she go? To you. So we are twisted in our understanding of dignified persona and behavior in our disposition. Frederick Douglass said himself, the slave who is drunk, the slave master has no worry of. He said it's the sober-minded slave that creates a problem for the slave master. Sober-minded slave. The Chinese last a couple of months ago, the Chinese came out with, President Xi came out and indicated that the Chinese have 100-year plan for the future of Chinese culture, for the future of Chinese society, for the future of Chinese evolution. We go day to day. What's up, man? Oh, I'm cool. I'm making it. No plan.
Listen, Baba, before you go, there was a comment in the comments that someone asked a question. I'm not going to repeat the question, but I went ahead and gave some clarity on who and what you are. But to answer the question in my own way, I'll show you why that question, this is the answer to that question. I'm not sure if y'all can get a clear view of that, but what that is are two brothers that's just been lynched. So that's why this type of energy is in here tonight. And I'm gonna make this declaration real quick too. Last night I feel like we had the energy of Obatala and Orunmila with Baba Professor Kaba Kabane, one of the most poised, brilliant minds I've ever been around or across paths with, and he's very compassionate, you know, with our people. But I'm gonna tell you right now, tonight you got Ogun energy in here today. And I wouldn't come in here with that foolishness because it's a different energy and a different vibe. So with that, Baba, yeah. So let me ask you.
Let me add to that. From 1865 to 1930, there were over 3,000 lynchings of African American people. This is after slavery. And over 200 of those lynchings were Black women. So if you ain't got the energy to work with solving not only the outside problem, but our problem in the 21st century is a concept called intra-racism, self-hate. and the manner in which we treat each other. You say you want black schools. You say you want black teachers. You say you want black principals. You say you want black literature, and then you fail in those kinds of environments. Who you fooling? You just running your mouth. You ain't serious about liberation.
Yeah, that's real. You know, a lot of people talk about it, but they ain't really doing no work. And you know, like I said, you really have a very decorated resume. I'm talking about extremely decorated in a lot of different environments. In some environments, some people wouldn't survive a day in. And that's real. so that's why I said I think sometimes. And shout out to Kashida, man, because Kashida made a comment earlier that was saying, you know, giving praise and props to honor to Professor Kaba last night. But she also made a statement that I love where she was like, you know, a lot of people are really comfortable with talking out of pocket online, you know what I'm saying? But there's certain things you can't do, you know, with certain people. So you got to be careful with that because you don't know the energies that are surrounding, you know, this whole entire movement of our shape. It has a lot of different energies that are involved with it. So you got to be really careful on who you're talking to and how you talk to them because it's not even necessarily the people who might come and get you. You know, some of these spirits can come and get you, and that's a real thing. So I'm telling you, just come in here, let's be at peace, and let's keep it pushing. So with that, Baba, let me just go right into it because we ain't no foreplay with this. We already in it. So why would you say? No, I'm sorry. Let me ask you this: if I said, "What is a nigga?" What would be your answer?
You had to go there, didn't you, brother?
I did. Listen, I told you, man. Look,
all right.
We keep it a buck in these Ashe streets. I told you.
Okay. Let's do this. We don't know where we came from. We have no plan. We were brought here on ships that were horrific in their transportational disposition for the people who were on them. Our women were raped on those ships. The traverse across the Atlantic Ocean was the most horrific traverse, and many of us jumped over the side of the ship because we did not want to take our offspring and raise them in this hellish environment that we came up in. Fulani, Hausa, Mandinka, Serer, Bantu, all of these tribal groupings were mixed and amalgamated into one without any thought or cultural understanding as to how culture is evolved naturally in any society. We were without any hope, we were without any guidance, and we were called niggas. And we were trained to hate each other. And we were given God in the image of the man that had a whip on our back. All of the angels, the Son of God in the context of Christian doctrine, were all in an image that was the same monster that had us in this condition for 250 years. No other people in the annals of human history, I'm going to say it again, no other people in the annals of human history went through 250 years of the peculiar institution of chattel slavery. And we were called niggas. And it was generated within our group. The concept of a nigga ain't shit. Puerto Ricans don't say spics ain't shit. Chinese don't say chinks ain't shit. Jamaicans don't say yard boys ain't shit. Only the so-called American Negro was indoctrinated with a self-hate image that his men are less than a bowel movement. And not only, when you leave the facility, you spray to take the odor out of it, and you wash your hands. I'm less than a bowel movement in the context of that saying. And it is endemic all across America that a young man 15, 16, 17 years old, a young woman, 17, 18, 19 years old, is flipped and saying out of their mouth, a nigga ain't shit. That's psychological destruction of the future of your ethnic group. And our psychologists, our historians, our mental health people have failed us because we are not dealing with the psychological damage that was instituted in the peculiar institution of chattel slavery that we carry forth in 2025. Our behavior is deteriorating as it relates to the dignified posture of the African American people. Let me say this while we're on this subject, brother. The nature of the female was enhanced. The mother, the nurturing, the comfort that she provides, that was enhanced in her on the plantation. The robbery of the mind was done to the male. Male muscle mass was considered very dangerous if it was in an African slave. So he had to be kept docile. No slave rebellion. No, let me back up. 50% of the Africans kidnapped from the continent, the Western continent, the West Africa, 50% went to South America. 50%, maybe 55%. Another 45% went to the islands of the Caribbean. Only a very small minority came to the continental United States. Very small minority, 5%. And they were the group who were experimented on their psychology, on their temperament, on their development, and plan was to keep them forever mentally enslaved. We have not come up with a plan that would cause us to be viable in a society that is open for business and all kinds of looks like I'm out. Am I still in, brother?
No, I see you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
something's going on with the volume.
Okay.
But yeah, I still see you and hear you. We're good.
All right. All right. We are not in the economic race for dignity in America. Okay. Haiti, the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere. Haitians come to America, stand on our shoulders, and before you know it, they got little Haitis all across America. Little Haiti in Brooklyn, little Haiti in Miami, little Haiti in Chicago. They are thriving, and our communities are being decimated with ignorant gang violence, drug abuse, disrespect of our women. I don't care what you call yourself, man. We have failed. The ignorance of the culture that the young people have embraced is a death culture.
Yeah. I call it
you can't have that's genocide, man. Look, if you have no respect for your women, you have no future. And if you have no dignified women, you have no future. Who's going to teach the offspring? What is she going to give them if she's ignorant? We have not decided what aspects of Western civilization we are going to reject as a people and what aspects of Western civilization that we are going to embrace. We are conflicted in America. And we're like Samson. We want to pull the house down on ourselves because we don't see any benefit in the house. Well, open your eyes, brother, and go to work and get a job. Try that on. Go to school and get an education, brother. Have some dignity about yourself, brother. Change your language, mister. Words make people. There's plenty of shining examples in your midst for you to emulate instead of those ignorant ass niggas that you want to follow, that every other word is a curse word coming out of their mouth. They disrespect their mothers. They disrespect their fathers. They disrespect themselves. They disrespect the people that came before them, the great people that preceded them, that had really had a difficult task. Look, man, we just came through Juneteenth. And Juneteenth is dealing with the freedom of the African American. All right, man. I'm gonna add something to this thing here, brother.
Let's go. Look, I'm ready.
We are celebrating us getting played for 2 years after the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation. That's something to celebrate. On top of the fact, when we worked on these plantations after the peculiar institution of chattel slavery, and we worked as what are they, not migrant farmers? What do you call when we had contracts working for the former owners of these plantations? So if a man got sick and couldn't go and work, number one, he had to get permission to stay home. And number two, if he did stay home, his wages were cut in half. Now, you're not getting paid for the day that you didn't work, but the wages that you worked for the rest of the week were cut in half. That was the process. So from 1865 into the 20th century, when we had the Great Migration, that many of us moved to these northern cities, we worked for peanuts and were still in the condition of servitude. Not in Texas. This was all across the South. We had no help from nowhere. So you going out, you drinking a bottle of beer and pig feet, and you talking about Juneteenth, happy Juneteenth. Are you out of your mind? Do you know what you went through?
I don't think.
And even when it was, well, you ain't reading no book.
You start with this one.
Yes, that's a perfect one to start with. Come on, man, we play too much. I just got Chinese got a 100-year plan. Puerto Ricans got bodegas all in the black neighborhood. These Arabs come over here and set up shop. Don't hire you. The prices are exorbitant. The quality of the food is inferior. Slave. Stop complaining and stand up and do something for yourself.
Yeah.
Look, let me explain something. One last point, brother.
No, go ahead, Bob.
I used to sell the Muhammad Speaks newspaper on 125th Street, next door to the world famous Apollo Theater in the 1960s. And I was told by these hip black people in Harlem, get that thing out my face. You can't make it without the white man. This is the 1960s. We had no confidence of independent black businesses as an ethnic group of people. We had exceptions to the rule, but we were conditioned to get a job from the white man. Not establish independent schools, not go back to the farm and get our hands dirty going back into the earth, not engage in the economic opportunities that America offers, not based on the color of your skin, but based on your business acumen. You mean the only business acumen we have is selling dope? The only business acumen we have is making nasty records about our women? The only business acumen we have is sticking our tongue out at the white man? Where is the energy for excellence and dignity amongst our people? Let's go to work, brothers and sisters, and make our ancestors proud of what we have accomplished. You talk all that black talk, you talk all that ancestry stuff, but your behavior doesn't demonstrate it.
Yeah, that part. Yeah, I tell you what, it's funny because, you know, I've been truly blessed to be able to move in a lot of different circles and a lot of different arenas and environments and atmospheres, and you know, it's been a blessing. And I think what I give the most thanks for is the ability to maneuver and work in different rooms with different types of people. I was just talking to the brother B-Dale about this the other day, about how, you know, the life's journey that I've had has kind of prepared me for this particular moment now in time, because going from, you know, multiple different environments. But one of the environments that I know a lot of people claim to be from, or claim to, you know, have done things and this and that, is the streets. And I personally have seen, you know, and had some interactions in that area too. And I think where some people, those who I feel like haven't really been in those types of environments and really been in there for real, I think they try to take on a persona that they see or that they've been influenced by, whether it's from music, from hip hop, from movies, from videos, whatever the case may be. And then they try to superimpose that, I guess, that history of themselves into who and what they, you know, I guess, try to be. I think they call it imposter syndrome. But anyway, I say all that to say that there's a lot of energy that's being thrown around, and it's like a fake tough bravado energy that I think some people, they do it, but they don't know that there's real consequences, you know, that come from those types of, you know, activities, or even thinking or acting or speaking that way. So I know you've had a lot of experiences, like I said, in a lot of different environments and arenas. Can you kind of share to me, like, any of this, maybe just one circumstance or situation where you saw or know of people being dealt with accordingly based upon their actions?
Let's start with this. There's a saying in America, good guys finish last. So if you are of the mentality that black culture is gangster culture, you're in the spirit of darkness. Just do the numbers, man. The African American male is 6% of the American population, but he's 52% of the prison population. 6 and 52 are not equal. With all of the technology that is available in the world today, you can't win just on the sake of advancement in technology dealing in criminal behavior, let alone how that affects the soul of a human being. I'm a Muslim, man. And our Quran teaches us that Allah created the human being in excellence, not in sin. Adam is a good person by nature. And when you take your nature out of its form, you become very ugly. So if you think you tough, I ain't seen you. You know what a tough guy is? A tough guy is when he can take a whole nation and take the nation's resources and use it for his own self. You worrying about a corner that you hanging on. This is my corner. You know what the real tough guy is? He gets up early in the morning, kisses his wife goodbye, and he goes to work so he can produce something for his family.
Yeah.
He ties up his boots and he steps out in the world and he produces something. Back on the continent, the brother will take his young son out to hunt a gazelle, to bring it back to the village. He don't tell daddy, I ain't going. I was in the club last night. I'm too tired. What is your perception of a man?
Yeah, I'm glad you actually said that, because that was one of my questions I was going to ask. But that matter of fact, let me just go ahead and ask it since it's up. What would you how would you identify a man, a black man? What are the qualities we should look for?
He should be decent. He should be conscious. He should be capable. He should be God-fearing. He should tell the truth. Stop bullshitting and making yourself to be something that you ain't. You 6% of the American population, man. Stand up and be a man. Pull your pants up, man, and go to work. Change your language. Change your thinking. Comb your fucking hair. You got a brush right now that you put it in your hair to make your hair look like it ain't combed. What kind of shit is that? You getting played, boy. And every time you get in trouble, the first thing he do, I'm looking at him in the office. The first thing he do, he start twisting his hair up like a goddamn slave. Man, you see, that's what slaves do. No, brother, you have that book in front of you. Mm-hmm. That book is a pictorial of how we were viewed and understood, and those images were spread around the world. We are doing that right now without any influence from white America. I don't give. Hey, look, man, it don't matter to me what you think. I'm speaking fact.
Yeah.
The elders in all societies pass down the culture to the youth. The youth don't come up with their own culture. The youth don't rebel against the ones that came before them. Look, man, I have forgotten more than anyone on this platform knows.
Yeah, that's
in terms of being slick. Come on, man.
And real quick too, Baba, let me jump in real quick, because there's a couple cats in the comments. There's two of them. I'm not gonna call your name, but I'm gonna tell y'all like this: chill with the comments, chill with the disrespect. If you either gonna come here, you're gonna respect the guest, and you're damn sure gonna respect me, or I'm gonna kick your ass up out of here. Don't come in here playing. I already gave that disclaimer earlier. I don't know if you missed it or not, but don't come in here playing with them comments, straight up. And to be clear, I said this last night. This is a unified front. Everybody has a position. When you look at a dynasty, when you look at basketball, every player on the court plays a position. Don't come in here saying about the Young Lions this and that. Everybody that comes here, we're all in a unified front, the tip of the sphere. And I'm going to say this part. You're dealing with real people when you see in this channel. You're dealing with some of those powerful priests, priestesses, babalawos, iyanifas, spiritualists, you name it. Don't play, because it ain't even us you got to worry about. It's the massive army of ancestral guides and protectors you got to worry about. So don't play with us. I'm not going to say it again. Okay, Baba.
A man who makes no plan for his future and has no family is not a man. There's a saying that they use in the maritime environment when the ship gets in trouble. They say, all hands on deck, man the ship. Take control of the environment. Our men are complainers. They're lazy. We don't produce what we should produce. They mamas, daddies. They ain't husbands. It's called the institution of marriage. It ain't called the institution of mamas, daddies. You cannot make progress in a future for your offspring unless you are part of an institution. And generation after generation, families combine and grow, and they become communities. Those communities become states. Those states become nations. Those nations become empires. But the basic unit is called family. And you can't have that when you call your woman a bitch and a hoe. Who is correcting the ignorant language of this African American male as it relates to how he views his mother? We play too much, man. You can make all the comments you want. What have you produced, brother?
That part. And see, that's what I'm saying. People don't know, because I think what happens is, and I know this because, like I said, I'm kind of torn in between a couple of different, I feel like, generations. But what I'm seeing is we got a group of young people who are part of the new school leaders and the new school teachers, right? And don't get it twisted. The new school is a problem, a whole problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's why I rock with them, and that's why it's been a divine alignment with me and some of the new school brothers that have been on the channel. But I want to be perfectly clear. Let's not get it twisted. I am a child of the ancestors. I am a child of the elders. And I've been blessed to be able to have some very strong relationships with some very powerful elders. And the one thing that I know is that you must move with the ultimate respect when you're dealing with the elders, because you have no idea of who and what you're dealing with. I can't stress that enough, because y'all have no idea. The ones who making them slick comments, like, you don't even know who and what you're dealing with. I'm trying to help you, like, for real. For one, I'm trying to help you to open your eyes and look at life from a different perspective. Don't have tunnel vision. You can't see the picture if you're in the frame. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
Well, it goes back to the question that you asked. Nigga ain't shit. You ain't taking the wisdom. You ain't taking the wisdom that I'm sharing with you, man.
That part.
You were stuck in a slave mentality where you dislike yourself, a self-hater. And when what I'm saying speaks directly to your soul, and the only thing you can say out of your slick mouth is something ignorant. Think, and as a man thinks, so is he.
Yes, sir.
Think before you open your mouth. Think 5 times before you speak, and you might be right. One of the things that we were trained on the plantation is to be very emotional. Our men are an emotional wreck, because we run our mouths without any thought. Our blood pressure goes up, we get angry at a circumstance, and we respond without thinking. The heat, calm down, brother, and think. And you don't have to say, I'm sorry, if you think before you run your mouth. The last thing the guy, man, bow, 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 bow. And he's sitting in a prison cell for 40 years, and 20 minutes after he gets his time, he said, damn, I shouldn't have killed that man, because you weren't thinking.
Yes.
Man, take this package across town. And you take the package across town, and the police is waiting for you. And you're going to blame them for your ignorance. Many of the young brothers that get killed in the street by law enforcement are in the game. Now you're going to blame them for doing their job. The boy is in the game, but the police is racist. You were confused. If you in the game, that's part of how it go down. Getting shot, going to jail, getting maimed. If you in the game, if you in death, the culture of death. African American men die earlier than all other ethnic groups because they engage too much in the culture of death, from their diet, from their behavior, from their thinking, from their interaction with each other, from the language that they use. It's a culture of death. It's not uplifting. It's not life providing. It's death. The Chinese got 100-year plan for their future. What you got? Man, I'm gonna go get straight. You gonna go rob somebody? And most of y'all, you rob other black people. You don't go rob no white man. You rob a black person, a self-hater. I'm not engaged. I'm not encouraging crime. I'm not encouraging immorality. But you prove that you a self-hater and you is a nigger. Get up and go to work in the morning, man. Make your mother proud of you. Make your ancestors proud of you. You have a better sense of yourself and your self-worth if you continue, if you engage in decent human behavior. Okay, what you call yourself, be a decent human being. Try that on. See how nice that feels, as opposed to going to the club and getting all grogged up and stupid. Try being a decent human being. If that ain't good enough for you, I'll see you.
Yeah.
Because this society got some tricks for you, boy.
Yeah. That part. Yeah. I'm gonna be a child of Obatala tonight. That's what I'm gonna do, because the clowns, I'm just gonna block the clowns. But I tell you what, you don't want that. I promise you, you don't. I'll leave it at that. But yeah. So with that, Baba. So what should we look at in regards to the action plan? Like what is most important on the list for us culturally, as a people? Because you've seen a lot, you've experienced a lot, you've actually been in the mosque. Am I not mistaken, like with or in the presence of Malcolm? Have you ever like directly spoken to Malcolm? Can you
No, I've never directly spoken.
Oh, okay. No,
okay. See, what most of our people don't understand, Malcolm had the spotlight, but there are other ministers and sisters in the temple who were just as powerful, but they were not out. Look, you have a system of producing alpha males and alpha females. It was a system. You had orientation class. You had the different levels of security. You had the businesses. Every aspect of society was included within the temple. And this was all across America. Tens of thousands of men and women being cleaned morally, spiritually, and physically, eating one meal a day, being disciplined, losing the concept of being a Negro in their mentality, and having a love for their own people and working for the establishment of a community. And over a 40-year period, most of our people did not use the term black. They used the term Negro. They used the term colored. And it was a direct infusion from the Nation of Islam to engage and get our people to turn towards Africa and have a different perception of African people and have a love for African. This was all part of a strategy that impacted tens of thousands of people. The diet changed. Health foods was not popular in the African American community, only amongst the members of the Nation of Islam. How do you all ignore that? How do you ignore a man like Muhammad Ali and his evolution and conceptually punching a chump in the mouth who wouldn't call him by his name? I am not Clay, I am Muhammad. Muhammad is the most used, recognized name on the face of the planet Earth. And the last thing that the slave master wanted is for us to call ourselves Muhammad. Okay, so in our evolution, in this process, there was one within his family, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad's family, who studied the Holy Quran, who prepared himself for that leadership and evolved into the leadership after the passing of his father and brought us into Deen al-Islam, a perception of the one God, the one humanity, and peace. Our mantra is peace. But if you break the peace, you'll find out what that looks like. Peace. How like minds have to come together in a peaceful, sincere, dignified environment and start looking at different aspects of human life amongst our people in our own community and start aiding each other, start doing business with each other, start learning about each other, have a plan, have a 5-year plan, have a 10-year plan, start marrying each other. This is not rocket science, man. People all over the earth do that. But the Negro can't do it because he's been robbed of who he is as a natural human being.
Mm.
I told you, man, I went to the movies and cheered for Tarzan.
Yeah. Well, it's when you don't know who you are, though.
Okay. A nigga ain't shit. He don't know who he is.
Well,
Change the language.
Yeah, even the disrespect, though. Like, if you know who you are, you're going to respect, you know what I'm saying? You're going to respect you're going to respect your mother, you're going to respect your elders, you're going to respect your grandparents, you're going to respect the elder out in the streets, you know, if you know who you are. But see, that's the problem that we're dealing with. And even with the ones that so-called woke, or even the ones that so-called conscious and all these different names that they want to call it, they say that, but what are you really doing? Like, you know what I'm saying? How are you actually showing up? It's one thing to talk something, but what are you actually doing? Like, I can't even stand next to you with how much work you've done in the community, or especially in the schools. But I know for damn sure I got a nice amount of hours racked up in a classroom talking to people, young students. You know what I'm saying? Especially young black males. Like, I really do this for real, and I don't have to get on social media and brag about it, talk about it, but none of that, because I do the work, and I do the work for the sake of the work. And I know you've done probably, I don't know, twice as much, if not 3, 4, 5 times as much work as I've done, like, since as long as you've been doing it. So therefore, it's like, we really is boots on the ground when it comes to working with healing, protecting, educating, empowering our people, especially our young people. We got receipts. So all y'all who over there capping and talking all that, I want to see receipts. That's what I want to see. But with that, so real quick, because I know the time's trying to run away from us. I love, and if you don't want to share it, that's fine. But I love your perspective on being an African or a melanated man of African descent, but being born in America. How do you feel like? Well, what is your relationship as a melanated man who came back into this world in the Americas, but who identifies with the cultural, historical, ancestral heritage of Africa? Would you mind sharing your perspective on that?
You and I have a very special role in showing the world what dignity looks like after you have been stripped of everything that God naturally gives the human being. And if you travel within your soul with that kind of energy, you will be successful, because it was determined that you would be less, or as is written in the Constitution, 3/5 of a human being. In other words, your vision and your hearing would be destroyed. You would only be left with 3 of your 5 senses. So you could not hear any guidance in your ear to extend your intellect, and you could not have any vision in your eye to plan for your future. That was determined for you. And here we are in a position of leadership and sincerity and dignity, where the world can look to us for guidance and direction, not on the corner, brother, not in the club, brother, but being dignified human beings and giving an understanding of our humanity that the world is so sorely in need of today. And that is a direct result of what happened to us. Man forgets, God don't forget. And somebody got to pick a check up. But when the check gets picked up, you have to be qualified and ready for leadership. You can't bullshit your way into leadership, brother. You have to be qualified to lead. That means knowledge. That means thoughtfulness. That means understanding. That means sincerity. That means have a good heart. Don't be slick. If you slick, you sliding. Stand on your 2 feet upright like a decent human being and do what is right and speak the truth. Try that on.
Yes, sir. Facts. Yeah, that's real. Yeah, that's real. So this is a very diverse audience, right? So one of the things that I love is the diversity, not just the audience, but also the guests, right? So shout out to the Balogun Shango, Baba Ogun Tolu, because I remember when I first, not too long after I met him, he was telling me about some of the work that he's doing. He's doing community work here stateside, but also on the continent. And like I didn't know how much like love and respect and like how revered he was in the continent until I went there with him last year. But one of the things that impressed me the most about him and the work that he's doing is he has a I think they call it an NGO that he's doing like community, service work with, right? And his business partners are, one of them is a Christian. Shout out to Mr. Adebayo, and the other one is a Muslim. Shout out to my boy Abdul. So, but Balogun is a high priest of Ifa. He is a priest of Ogun. He's also the Balogun Shango USA, which is like one of the it's a very prestigious title that comes out of Oyo, where Shango is actually from, in the Oyo town. So with him being in collaboration with those two brothers for a movement that is that profound in regards to serving humanity, it impressed me. And I remember the very first time I interviewed them, I actually interviewed all three of them. And I was extremely impressed because it goes back to what I was saying earlier about giving thanks about moving in different rooms, because the way I see it, my motto and my mission is united we stand, divided we fall. It doesn't matter to me that you're a Muslim. It doesn't matter to me if some of the other people are Christians, or I don't care what your religion is. That doesn't matter to me. Is your energy vibrating on the same frequency as me? Do you have the same love and respect for me that I know that I'm going to have for you? Because if those two things are yes, let's get it. I'm not concerned about none of that, because none of that really matters to me. Just like the whether humanity began in Africa or in America bullshit argument or division mindset, like none of that matters to me. And if you're on that, then you're not even operating close to the frequency that is needed for us to be able to do what we came here to do, that has to be done right here and right now. So with that, where would you leave an audience like this to where you, being a certified elder who has a lot of stripes in a lot of different areas of life, and I don't say that lightly, and I don't kiss nobody's ass. I don't give nobody more than what they, I feel like it is, and I don't take nothing away from nobody either. I do my best to call it exactly for what it is and exactly how I see it. And shout out to Baba Joe, because he told me about you, and I'm telling you, I saw that within the first sentence you said. I couldn't do nothing but laugh. Like, yep, that's it. Because I know he's another one that don't let that Obatala energy fool you. Like, he's a different dude too. But anyway,
That's right.
where would you leave us, like, for some food for thought in regards of who and what you are, and the work that you've done, and what you feel like needs to be done collectively for us as a people? Where would you leave us with your words of wisdom until we do this again?
Be true to yourself. Be true to yourself. We are professional bullshitters. Our children see it. The world sees it. the dignity that we once manifested as an oppressed group of people in the world, that we rose out of, we're returning to the vomit. Be true to yourself and follow right guidance. You know the difference between right and wrong? Simple. And we'll be blessed with much progress if we be true to ourselves and true to that from which we came from, and honor that from which we came from. And we'll grow as a people. And the world will benefit from our growth.
Ashe. Yeah. Nah, look, I agree 1,000,000%, man. Sure, 1,000,000%. And it's funny because you said something that I know to be true, and we don't have nowhere near enough time to go there tonight, and hopefully in the future we will. But when you said I forgot more than pretty much every single one of y'all have ever known, I believe that to be a real thing. And no disrespect to the audience, because I know we got a vast, like I said, very vast mixed audience of different age groups, different backgrounds, different demographics, different religions, different everything. But I do know, just like I said, those two meetings that I've been a part of, working with you in real life in person, I was amazed and astounded by like the level of intelligence, but not just intelligence, but the sheer tenacity and the passion that which, you move with at 80 years young. Like that's another level of being impressed for me personally, because I've been around some elders who, have a lot of energy and who are doing great work as well, but I haven't seen anything like what you are, man, in regards to like the sheer overall tenacity that's involved with all the other profound elements of wisdom, of experience, of credibility, and of resume. Like that's it's something that I commend and I salute. So I definitely appreciate you, and not only you stopping through tonight, but also all the work that you've done within our community from the time you started doing this work up until now. And then especially for our young kings who you've been serving. How long you been doing the work in the school, Baba?
40 years.
40 years. And I'm going to share this too, because this was on my mind before we started, but I forgot to bring it up, but Spirit gave it back to me. You were probably the only person that I know that I have heard stories about. I mean, like literally have heard stories about from about maybe 3 to 5 different generations. I've heard it from elders in your age range. I've heard it from elders who are maybe 10, 15 years older, 20 years older than myself. I've heard it from people in my age range, which is mid-40s. And I've also heard it from young people, and I'm talking about even students who I have been in front of in classrooms have told me stories or shared things about you and the work that you've done in our area. So just that alone, like I said, it shoots up my hierarchy of people who like I look at in regards to like the level of respect, because being someone who does this work and being new, I'm still a baby at this stuff, to be able to sit at the table and have the conversation that we've had over the last 3 or 4 weeks is extremely humbling for me, but I'm proud, man. And the closest thing that I could say that resonates with me doing things like this with people like you is I'll never forget when I was invited to sit at the table with the elders at my last big family reunion. And the only reason I was invited to sit there is because like 2 or 3 of my great aunts and with my grandmother had transitioned. So there was a couple of extra seats at the table. And I'll never forget being able to sit at that table, but because for me, that was almost like the feeling I feel like I would have felt being a ball player and I got drafted to the league. Because as a child, I've always grown up. Seriously, I've always grown up like, always around my elders. Excuse me. And I've always, had a strong relationship with the elders. I remember, shout out to Oloye Fayinka, man. I remember him asking me about how I was able to kind of weave this thing together, this Ashe thing with all these elders. I'm like, bro, I have no idea. I said, but the one thing I did pick up as a young boy was being able to figure out a way to add value or make an elder's life easier. I said, as a little boy, once I learned that, I was like, it was over, because then I knew what I could do to sit next to him or even just to be in the room so I could listen.
Right.
Because for me, that's no different than how I ran out and got this book and I got about a couple more on the way and a few more in the cart from looking at what you had at the meeting. Because I do this for real. Like this is not a game. Like this is not a game. No, we need help. Our people need help.
Yes, sir.
And we need healing.
Badly. Yes, sir.
And we need
Yes,
love.
sir.
So that's what
Yes,
I come here
sir.
to do. So with that, man, I can't thank you enough. Like I said, for coming to, spend time with us and chopping it up. And with that, anything you want to share and leave with the people, heading out, man.
Oh, brother, I've had a great time being with you. Great time. Yes, sir.
I appreciate it. But they don't even believe you 80. They say, man, he ain't 80. He don't look like he 80. Man. Oh, and one last question too. I know the answer to it. I don't know if they're still in the audience or not, but somebody had asked a question earlier about what do you think about I think it was I can't find it. I think it was in the form of something like, can you ask or what does the elder think about the Africans who were here prior to slavery? So if you could fit one more question in, can you share with us, whatever your perspective is of the cultures who were here, the melanated cultures who were here prior to the chattel slavery era?
There were several. See, one of the reasons. Okay, Columbus was Italian, but he Ferdinand and Isabella were the Spanish king and queen, and they were underneath. 1492 was the last year of the Moors ruling in Spain, and they had knowledge of the Moors from Africa using the trade winds coming to the Western Hemisphere. So the knowledge was already there. And we know that the Olmec civilization in Mexico, they have those huge heads. I had the opportunity to see them in the Museum of Natural History, 20-foot heads of African men, clearly with the African nose, the African lips, all the African features, and braids in their hair. And they were dated to approximately 1300. And we also know that some of the pharaohs in Egypt had tobacco. When autopsies were performed on them, there was tobacco still in the body, and the only place where tobacco was cultivated several thousand years ago was in the Western Hemisphere. So there's obviously trade between Africa and the Western Hemisphere while the white man was in the caves. So this, an excellent book, Ivan Van Sertima, They Came Before Columbus. Another book by a man named Wiener in reference to the Egyptians having contact with the indigenous population in the Western Hemisphere. So this is it's common knowledge if you do any study. But if you don't study, then you'll think everything revolves around what you're told in school, which much of it is to maintain Western civilization knowledge as superior to anyone else's knowledge.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And then they're definitely showing love. Yeah, I appreciate it, man. And shout out to the tribe for the love and the gratitude and all that. We definitely appreciate y'all. And then for the books, I'm gonna have to share like a whole book list or something because there's a lot more out there too that I just right now I gotta, get them together. But I definitely make that happen. And what I said also in the comments, if you could find any of Dr. York's work, any and every single one of those is enough. But it's hard to find his work right now, so I'm not sure where is the best places to find them. But with that, I'll definitely start working on sharing some, book lists for y'all tribe. I'll probably be posting them and then making it happen. So, but yeah, I definitely appreciate you, bye-bye, and I look forward to doing it again, man, and making it do what it do. And
yes, sir.
It was everything I knew it was going to be. But like I said, I knew this thing was going to be hot.
We together now, man. It's done.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But yeah, nah. Look. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, we're gonna do it again. We're gonna do it again because if I didn't have another
my
call
brother.
tonight, I'll keep going. But shout out to the tribe. For those who are in the private community on the YouTube channel and for the Patreon community, we're having a private call tonight. A private community call. Munam is coming through. We're gonna get into some ancestral veneration and also putting together ancestral shrines. So that's gonna be a good one, family. So if y'all are part of the private community on YouTube or Facebook, y'all catch me again in about 45 minutes. We're going to be bringing in Unam. We're going to be tapping in with the ancestors and the Egungun. So with that, I give thanks to you again. Bye-bye. And I'll definitely be in touch, to see when we can line something else up. And it was an honor and a pleasure. And I give thanks and I appreciate you.
All right. Thank you, brother. Love you, man. Thank you again.
Yes, sir. Love you too, man. And with that, family, this has been another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I am your host, Arisha Bami. Shout out to Baba Wali, Shabazz, also known as the Brother Professor. And we got another one coming back tomorrow night, family. I think at 9 p.m. we got another live coming with the Big Mama energy. So yeah, we'll be back with that tomorrow too. But with that, y'all, please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see y'all tomorrow night. Private community members, I'll see y'all about 45 minutes. All right, family, we out. Peace.
Peace.
Ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé sàpò ìyàgbọ́ tẹ́ǹtì ẹni takísà ní tàtàn ò bá padà sílé anítìjàkọ ẹja lọ pé eégún mo sí ẹni gbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́. Forsake not your ancestors and pray.